Welcome back to Fact Checking Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the presidential debate, and this is part 17, second to last one, guys. Almost there. If you've been here, you know the drill. I'm going to play the clip, stop it, fact check, and keep doing that.
Just one observation is that listening to them, America is in terrible decline. But I don't see people risking their lives to leave America or to go to many other countries. They want to come here. And you say the middle class is disappearing. It's true, it's getting smaller. But the data show mostly because they're going into the upper class. I think America is doing pretty well, and we just need you politicians to leave us alone.
I do want to make an observation about President Trump's final point, which I think is a very, very important point for Americans to understand. We are closer to nuclear war right now than at any time since 1962. This week we did something extraordinary that was hardly covered by the press, which is we fired a missile in coordination with Ukraine into a series of missiles into Crimea with cluster bombs, which every nation in the world except for us and North Korea says is a war crime. We dropped them on a civilian population, people who were sitting on sunning themselves on a beach, and we killed a lot of children.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of hate commenting on foreign affairs because it's really hard for me to know what sources are credible and not, but this is very widely reported. So numerous sources say that 4 people died in this attack, 2 of them children, and around 150 people were injured. It was just like what Kennedy said, it was on a beach when this happened. And Russia now blames the US as much as they do Ukraine because we supplied those weapons and US satellites directed those missiles. This is what a Russian official had to say. The involvement by the United States, the direct involvement as a result of which Russian civilians are killed, cannot go without consequences.
And the previous week, Russians are in Cuba firing missiles because they've warned us.
This is what's been reported, and then you can make your own opinions from there. In early June, 3 Russian military ships and a nuclear submarine arrived in Cuba. They say it was for military exercises, and American ships were eventually sent out too. And obviously, it's like a month later, and nothing came of it.
We are going to lose the war in Ukraine. Well, I've said that from the beginning. We cannot beat Russia and the Ukraine. They cannot allow themselves to lose that war. They've been invaded 3 times through Ukraine. The last time they were invaded, the Russians Hitler killed 1 out of every 7 Russians. They're not going to let us put NATO in Ukraine. They cannot do it. It's absolutely critical for their national security, and we need to recognize that. And we are pushing toward a war with a nuclear power that says they will use nuclear weapon if they're pushed to the edge. They have 2,500 more nuclear weapons than we do.
I disagree with Kennedy's statement that Russia has 2,500 more nuclear weapons than us because they don't disclose how many they have. So it's estimated that they have 500 more than we do, but it's an estimate. We don't know. So he could be right or he could be wrong.
They have better defensive weapons, and we cannot fight a world war anymore. Because of hypersonic missiles, we couldn't get 1 million men across the Atlantic. Even worse, we do not have an industrial base like we did before World War II. We can't create weapons anymore. We create small numbers, but nothing like the Chinese or the Russians. This is something that every American needs to understand how close the incompetence of this administration has brought us to war.
That's what I have for you for this segment. The last one is going to be the closing arguments. If you made it all the way to the end, you get a gold star. But as always, let me know your thoughts and make sure you're following me for more.